All right, so today we are going to be talking about the top 20 cars you can get brand new under $50,000. Specifically, like more sporty cars, things that go fast and also handle well. So let's take a look and get right into it. So we're gonna do all these cars, but not in a specific order. We're just kind of gonna go through the list and yeah, go from there. So car number one that we're gonna be looking at is gonna be the 2024 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. So this car starts off at around $28,000. It's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 228 horsepower, 3,300 pounds curb weight. So one fun thing I'm going to do for this video is that I'm going to include the power to weight ratio. And this is important because a car can be really heavy and have a lot of horsepower, but that doesn't mean it's going to handle good or go fast in a straight line. And so it's important to have those numbers. For this one, power to weight ratio is 14.7. So it's kind of high on the list of cars we have here. 0 to 60, 6.1 seconds, not too shabby. And this is going to be a dual clutch automatic or a manual transmission. I love that this has the option of manual. So GLI stands for Grand Luxury Injection. One thing I don't like about this car is that it has fake corner vents. Come on, just like make them functional and make them real. I don't understand why car manufacturers put on fake vents on cars, but it is what it is. It does have a limited slip differential, but no trunk lid spoiler, but its competitor, the Civic Si, gets one. So it's going to get a zonk there. Let's go over to the tier list board. I think we're going to put this one in C tier. It's a very mid car. Price starts off pretty good. It's not too expensive, so it's a good entry level car, but you know, for the power and then like the fake stuff and all the other stuff, I'm gonna put it at C tier. I feel like that's fair. Next one, let's take a look at the Subaru BRZ. So this car is really cool. Spec wise, starts off at $36,000, 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, 228 horsepower, 2,800 pounds for curb weight, which is really good. Power to weight ratio is going to be a little less than the GLI, sitting at 12.6. 0 to 60 is going to reflect that at 5.4 seconds. Comes in automatic and manual. Okay, so specifically here, we're going to be looking at the Subaru BRZ TS. So this is it's a little higher trim than the base model. It's about $5,000 more. This is it has track tested suspension and a Torsen limited slip differential, which is awesome. Comes out with Brembo brakes, STI tuned dampeners. This is really the proper budget sports car, especially for this trim level starting off at $36,000. That is awesome. So for this car, I love BRZs. I've always wanted a BRZ when I was younger. I think this is an A tier car. I'm not fully going to put it at S tier just because we do have a lot of other cars on this list. But I feel like A tier is pretty solid for that BRZ. All right, next car we're taking a look at is the 2024 Honda Civic Si, and this is going to be that competitor for the GLI. So this car starts off at $29,000. It's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower, 2,900 pounds. Power to weight ratio is going to be 14.7. I think that's pretty much the same as the GLI, but the 0 to 60 is going to be less, 6.6 seconds, and I think this is because this car only comes in manual transmission. However, the GLI comes in automatic or manual. So I'm sure that 0 to 60 number on the GLI was tested in automatic because that's going to be the quicker car. So 6.6 seconds. It sounds better than the GLI. I've heard both cars stock. And the fact that Honda was like, hey, manual only, you learn how to drive manual or don't drive this car. That is pretty sweet. Yeah, so pretty sweet, only comes in manual transmission. Both the GLI and SI have launch control, which is awesome. I think tier list wise, this car, manual only, that's pretty ballsy of Honda to do. It does sound better than the GLI. So I'm going to put that one level above it, right smack first and B tier. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid for that car. Next car that we're going to be looking at is going to be the 2024 Acura Integra A-Spec. So this is going to start off at $33,000, 1.5 liter 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower, 3,000 pounds for curb weight. Power to weight ratio kind of sucks. It's a 15.3, 6.7 seconds 0 to 60. Comes in automatic and manual, front wheel drive. So they do also have a 2-liter 4-cylinder, but the sticker price of that's going to start off at $52,000, which exceeds the budget. So I know that's the 320 horsepower model. It's more fun, but we're going to be looking at that 1.5 liter. So this is a very beautiful car. I feel like this is the grown-up luxury version of the Civic Si. And it also has functional corner vents, unlike the GLI I was talking about. So, you know, functionality, luxury, performance. I don't know if performance is really there for the Acura Integra A-Spec, but interior is also really nice. And it's a nice looking car. It looks sporty, but the power is a little lacking, in my opinion. I would say this is definitely below BRZ, and I don't think it's on the same level as that GLI. So I'm gonna put it. It's a fancier version of the Honda Civic Si. So I'll put it next to that one. Next car that we're gonna be looking at is gonna be the 2024 Volkswagen Golf GTI. This car starts off at $32,000. It's gonna be a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 241 horsepower. 3,188 pounds. Power to weight ratio 13.2, 0 to 60, pretty typical, 6 seconds. Comes in automatic and manual and front wheel drive. So this car compares with the Hyundai Elantra N line. And the cool thing about this car specifically is this is the last model year that they're gonna have the manual transmission. So if you wanna get a manual, you wanna get a new car, you wanna get a GTI, gotta do it now. So GTI stands for Grand Touring Injection. So if you ever wondered what that stands for, that's Grand Touring Injection. So sleek. This is going to be the sleek 8th generation design. This redesign was in 2022, so we've seen this model around a little bit. The issue with this car is it also has fake vents in the front. So just putting that out there. Not a big fan of those fake vents. I mean, if you want a sporty performance car, just open up the vents. I mean, like, it's not that much more effort. So it's a nice looking car. Power to weight ratio is mid. I feel like this is pretty on par with the. It's a little bit better than the GLI, but the price bumps up a few $1,000s. I think I know the Volkswagen boys are going to be upset with this decision, and I'm going to put that in S tier. Not S tier, C tier. So I'll plop that in C tier. All right, next car. We were talking about that Hyundai Elantra N line, so let's talk about that real quick. This car starts off at $33,700. It is a 2-liter 4-cylinder. We're seeing a lot of those 2-liter 4-cylinders. This car has 276 horsepower, 3,300 3,300 pounds for the curb weight. Power to weight ratio is pretty decent. 11.9, 0 to 60, 5.7. Comes in automatic and manual. This is going to be a front wheel drive car. It looks pretty sweet. I mean, if you're looking for like a sports sedan, you know, and that's pretty quick and has a lot of cool features, I feel like this car is pretty awesome. I mean, and it's priced very well for like the performance, the exterior looks, the features, and it has that new redesign for 2024. The 2023 one, oh, I did not like the body style on that. So I think it looks sharper, it's cleaner. Yeah, it's a good sports sedan. I'm gonna put that in B tier. All right, next car that we're gonna be looking at, I'm not the biggest fan of. This is the 2024 Subaru WRX TR. You can get a cheaper WRX, but we're gonna be looking at the TR. It's a little bit more track focused. It actually stands for TR is track ready. Specs for this car is going to be $42,000, 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, 271 horsepower, 3,500 pounds. Power to weight ratio 13.1, not great. 0 to 60, 5.5, decent. That 0 to 60 is going to probably be because of the all-wheel drive system, and it comes in manual transmission. So the non-base model starts at $32,000, which is quite a lot less, but we're looking for, you know, more sporty, like fun sport, like track cars, drag cars, just a fun car you can take out over the weekend. Cool thing with this car is it has Brembo brakes, Recaro seats. The TR doesn't have a sunroof because weight savings, you want to go faster. Weird thing is this car doesn't have any TR badging, which is a little interesting. And a zonk for me is going to be it has the same power level as the base WRX. Come on, just like put maybe a bigger intake, a bigger turbo, like just, I don't know. In my opinion, there are so many better choices than the WRX. I feel like it's somewhat of a cheap car, and the experiences I've had with WRX owners is not the best. Imagine just kids vaping, sunglasses, hat low, and it's the vape boys. The vape boys love this, love these WRXs. Not a big fan. I would never pretty much buy a WRX. Gonna be D tier. I mean, if I have to drive one, I will. Not my favorite car. Next, we're going to be looking at the 2024 Toyota GR Corolla. This car starts off at $36,500. This car is pretty cool. It's a 1.6 liter 3-cylinder, 300 horsepower, 3,200 pounds, 10.9 for the power to weight ratio, 0 to 60 sub 5 seconds. That is pretty cool. Comes in automatic and manual. So this is going to be an all-wheel drive system. I feel like this is a much better choice than the WRX. So this car, Toyota loves to advertise this car as track ready, like good to go, like out of the box, a lot of fun. 100 horsepower per cylinder. It has GR tuned suspension and steering. Also comes with 4-piston brakes in the front, so great stopping power. And with this all-wheel drive system, you can actually change how the power is distributed between the front and the back wheels. So that is really cool. So if you want a more sporty feel in the back, and you know the back end gets out a little bit, but you still have that all-wheel drive system, super cool. I love this, especially if you live somewhere where it snows. This is a really cool sports car. 2024 Toyota GR Corolla. This is a really cool one. I'm gonna put this in A tier. That's a cool car. I would get that. I would drive that. Yeah, solid car. Okay, so yes, next car we're gonna be looking at is gonna be the 2025 BMW 230i, specifically the xDrive, not the rear wheel drive. For the xDrive, this car starts off at $41,200, 2 liter, 4-cylinder, 255 horsepower, kind of hefty, 3,519 pounds. 13.8 is going to be the power to weight ratio. 0 to 60, 5.3. That's pretty decent. Automatic transmission, no manual gearbox for this one. And you can get this car in rear wheel drive, but for all wheel drive, I feel like that's gonna, it's gonna be a little bit better performance wise, 0 to 60 and stuff like that. So 2 Series, that is the smallest BMW sold here in the US. Functional corner vents. Again, I know I'm like talking a lot about the functional vents and stuff like that, but this car has it, love it. Active shutters on the front grille for cooling, so it automatically opens and closes, really cool. I had a 3 Series BMW that also had that. And you can go up to the M level trim for this car, the M240i, which bumps up the horsepower to 382, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, rear wheel drive. I was gonna put that one on the list, but that is $50,100. So it's over our budget of $50K. But yeah, this is a solid car. It's a small engine, the 2 liter 4-cylinder, but it looks very nice. Has functional vents. It gives more a luxury feel. It is a little pricier than some of the other cars we've seen so far. Let's see, where would I put this? I don't think it's C tier. I think it's B tier, it's a coupe. It's a coupe, so it's not a four-door. So I definitely think it's a little bit of a more sporty feel. Yeah, I think I'll put it solid B tier. All right, so next car that we're going to be looking at is the Honda Beast, the 2024 Honda Civic Type R. Expensive, $45,000, 2-liter 4-cylinder, 315 horsepower. Curb weight is 3,200 pounds. The power to weight ratio is actually pretty decent, sitting at 10.2. 0 to 60 on this car is 4.9 seconds. Manual transmission only. Again, Honda with exclusively having manual transmissions and not putting an automatic gearbox. That's really cool. It's going to be front wheel drive. Functional hood vent, really cool. Brembo brakes Brembo brakes, and these tires are wrapped in Michelin. What is it? Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. So super grippy tires, which is great. Some things I don't like about the car is the interior is a bit basic, in my opinion. It does have these sport bucket seats, red seat belts, red carpets, but the seats don't come heated or ventilated. And when I say like the interior is a little basic, I'm talking about like the dash. Like everything from the dash back is pretty sweet. Also has adaptive dampeners. This is a pretty cool car. See, the thing is, I can't put it on the same level as the SI. This is a really like track focused car. I love it. Let me see. Type R. Let's go ahead and put that A tier. That's a really cool car. I would love to drive one. They sound awesome. I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos on it. Super cool car. All right, so now we are going to be talking about my pride and joy. The 2024 Mustang GT. Cool thing about this car is base level for a GT starts off at 42,860, so it's less than the Civic Type R. But this car has a whopping 480 horsepower coming out of a 5-liter V8. It's a little on the heavier side. It's a muscle car, so it's going to be 3,741 pounds for the coupe, non-convertible. Power to weight ratio 7.8. I believe this has the best power to weight ratio on the list of all these cars. If not, it's definitely top 3. So power to weight ratio awesome. 0 to 60 time reflects that 4.3. This comes in an automatic or a manual transmission, and it's rear wheel drive. So you really get that sporty feel. You can drift around the corners. You can do big fat burnouts. Awesome car. The aftermarket support for this car is also so great. So many different websites, CJ Pony Parts, American Muscle. It's American made. So I mean, the parts are a lot cheaper than if you were to go with like German automobiles. But I love this car. I personally own this car, so I have to put it S tier. Especially like the power to weight ratio, the entry level cost. Like, it's such a good new car. And the technology in these new cars are incredible. So S tier. So, and since we talked about the Mustang, we need to address the elephant in the room, or I should say the Chevy Camaro. So the Chevy Camaro, we're going to be looking at the 1SS. This is pretty much the same as the GT trim for the Mustang. They are, so this car starts off at $44,000, 6.2 liter V8, so a big hefty engine. 455 horsepower, but I believe the torque numbers on the Camaro are higher than the Mustang. Pretty much same weight, 3,700 pounds. Power to weight ratio 8.2. So again, very good power to weight ratio there. 0 to 60 is going to be 4.7. Comes in automatic and manual gearbox, and it's rear wheel drive. So, so this car, the issue with the Chevy Camaro and all the other muscle cars is they don't make them anymore. 2024 is the last year that they're going to produce those big V8 muscle cars, except for the Mustang. The Mustang is still going strong. So if you do want to get a new Camaro, 2024 is the last year that you're going to be able to pick it up. But these cars are super fun, high power, rear wheel drive, sports cars, muscle cars. But one thing I don't like about this car is the poor outward visibility. And this is due to the low wide stance of this car. It has thick pillars and the windows are small. So it's kind of hard to see out of. I sat in both a Camaro and a Mustang when I was looking at getting a muscle car, and the Mustang just has more, you know, you can see better out the windows. It is a super cool car. I love it, and it's sad to see them go. It's going to be an A-tier car. If Mustangs didn't exist, I would absolutely pick up a Chevy Camaro. All right, next car we're going to look at is going to be another Volkswagen. This is the 2024 Volkswagen Golf R. The really cool car, starting off at $46,000, 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 315 horsepower, 3,500 pounds for the curb weight. Power to weight ratio is going to be 11, 0 to 60, 4.1 seconds. Beast of a car. That is so quick. And I think that's due to the all-wheel drive and the automatic. You can get this car in manual transmission, but that automatic is just going to launch that car to 60. So what I like about this car, it will make a great winter sports car due to that all-wheel drive system. And one thing to note about the all-wheel drive system on this car is it doesn't get that standard, typical, symmetrical all-wheel drive that you'll see on a bunch of Subarus. This has the 4-motion system. So this has like torque vectoring and Haldex coupling and a bunch of other fancy components. Essentially, this just means it's a better all-wheel drive system. The one zonk on this car is if you take a look at the interior, that gear shifter looks like a nub. Okay, so not the biggest fan of that, but it's a super cool car. I love it. I think this deserves to be in. You know, I was gonna put this in B tier, but I think this is a cool car. I'm gonna put that A tier. Next car that we're gonna look at. Not sure why I put this on the list. I just felt like we need to talk about this car. It is gonna be the 2024 Toyota Prius Prime. It looks cool. Starts off at $33,000, 2-liter, 4-cylinder, 220 horsepower combined. It has a gas motor and an electric system. So 220 combined horsepower, 3,571 pounds. The power to weight ratio, I think, is the worst on this list, coming in at 16.2. Oh, 0 to 60 can be done in 6.6 seconds. This is a automatic gearbox, and it is front-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. All right, so there is not much to say about this car. Again, not sure why I put it on the list. It looks cool. It looks like a sports car. This gives me BMW i8 vibes. If anyone knows about that car, it's a super sweet all-electric. No, actually, I believe that's a hybrid too. A hybrid car. Looks cool. It has like the Lambo doors that come up, or like the butterfly doors. Really cool car, but it is slow. I think that car also has like 200 horsepower. So it's a car you get for the looks. And I feel like this car is very similar, where it looks really cool. It looks fast even. If you take a look at the pictures, it looks like a fast car. It's just slow. So I hate to do this, all my Toyota Prius fans, but this is going to be, that's going to be F tier. I would not get that as a sports car. And I know I put it on the list. It looks fast, but it's not. Next car we're going to look at is going to be the only all-electric car on this list. It is the 2025 Hyundai IONIQ 6. Starts off at $37,000. All-electric system, 320 horsepower, which is pretty decent. It is a heifer, though. This car sits at 4,376 pounds. Power to weight ratio, surprisingly, is not as bad as the Prius, sitting at 13.6. It is a 0 to 60, 4.6 seconds, which is actually pretty fast. Automatic gearbox. Well, it's not even a gearbox. It's an electric car, so automatic, I guess. Rear-wheel drive system, which is pretty cool. And it's that instant torque that I think pushes it to 60 in such a short amount of time. 4.6 seconds it's pretty good, especially at that price range. Issues with this car, it is very heavy. You get that instant torque at least. The base level comes with rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, so that's one thing to look at. I think the all-wheel drive system is going to put it over our $50K budget, or there was some other issue. But yeah, base model comes with rear-wheel drive. And so thinking where to put this guy on the list. It's good. It's on par, I think, with the Toyota Prius. I just feel like it's not there yet. You know, it's a cool looking car, all electric. If you don't want to go with the Tesla, you could get this, but for sportiness, I don't think so. Definitely F tier. All right, next car we're going to look at is one of my favorites. This is going to be the 2024 Nissan Z. This car starts off at $43,000. This is the only 6-cylinder on the list. This is a 3-liter 6-cylinder, 400 horsepower. Is not heavy, not light, sitting at 3,550 pounds. Power to weight ratio is pretty solid on this, coming in at 8.8. 0 to 60 is going to be 4.5 seconds. You can get this car in both a automatic transmission or a manual, and it's another rear-wheel drive car. And this car has a lot of racing goodies. It has like launch control and a G-force monitoring. I mean, if you know anything about this car, like this is an iconic car known for like drifting. People love to build these cars. The aftermarket support on this is great. It's just like the Mustang or any American muscle car. But it's an iconic car. It's been around since 1969. It is such a cool car. I think we all know where this car belongs. Smack at the top, S tier. Such a great car. Enough said. Let's hop right into the next one. Now we are going to be looking at another German car. This is going to be the 2025 Audi S3. Pretty expensive, starting off at $48,700. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, 330-ish horsepower. Curb weight is 3,600 pounds. Power to weight ratio, it's mid. It's 11.1. 0 to 60 is pretty decent. Mid 4 seconds. Automatic gearbox and an all-wheel drive system. So the cool thing with this car is that it has a torque splitter. This is a variable torque distribution between the rear wheels, and it essentially just means it's better at, you know, handling and launching. And I might be completely wrong. I'm not entirely sure how a torque splitter works, but I did for the 2 minutes of research that I did on what it is. It definitely helps with handling and performance, and that's about as much as I can say on torque splitters. This car has a flat bottom steering wheel. Interior, super nice, luxury. I mean, if you're trying to, you know, look more professional, but also have a fun, fast car, I feel like the Audi S3 is definitely a solid bet. Do I think this is on the same track as Camaro, BRZs? It's not sporty enough for that, so I'm going to put it in B tier right next to its German brother, the BMW. This is a 4-door versus the BMW that we talked about is a coupe. Enough said, B tier. Next car that we're going to look at is another American car. This is a fancy American car. It is the 2025 Cadillac CT4 V, not the Blackwing. Blackwing is expensive. This car is also expensive, starting at $48,000. It is a 2.7-liter 4-cylinder, 325 horsepower, 3,600 pounds. Power to weight ratio 11.1 and mid 4 seconds for 0 to 60. Automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive, which is kind of cool. So it's a good car for the winter. Brembo brakes in the front. That's awesome. I love Brembo. They make great performance parts specifically for stopping power. It has performance data and video recorder built into the car. It has some cool track-focused options that you can option on the car. So, I mean, if you go to the Cadillac website and you look up the CT4 V, it's literally a video of the car on a racetrack doing race car things. It has a lot of cool options for specifically racing and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely above the other sports sedans like the S3. So I'm gonna put this A tier. It's a really cool car. The last car that we're gonna be looking at is one of the most iconic cars. If you've seen Fast and the Furious, you know what car I'm talking about. It is the new 2024 Toyota GR Supra. And we're going to be looking at the 2-liter because the 3-liter is more than $50,000. 2-liter starts off at $46,400. It's a 4-cylinder, 255 horsepower, 3,100 pounds for curb weight, so it's pretty light. Power to weight ratio sitting at 12.4, 0 to 60, 5 seconds. automatic gearbox, and rear wheel drive. So, I mean, a couple things with this car. You can always go for its big brother, the 3.0 V6. That car starts off at $55,000, so it's a little over our budget. But that car is really sweet. And that one, the 3.0 V6, you can actually get in a manual transmission. The 4-cylinder, you cannot. You have to stick with the auto. So, gonna get a little zonk there for me. And I mean, the performance is a little disappointing, 255 horsepower. And I get that it's a lighter car, but again, look at the power to weight ratio. It's not great. But the interior is very similar to that 3-liter. So if you pull up both cars side by side, they are nearly identical. I think there's some small changes in the seats, but otherwise the interior looks like the V6. The 4-cylinder doesn't sound great, especially if you've heard the V6. It sounds so good. Cup holders, for some reason, are on the armrest. So when you're driving, like, your elbow can like fall in there, and especially if you're like cornering and stuff and you like want to plant your arms down. Not sure why they put cup holders right there. Not the biggest fan of that. And one gripe I do have about this new generation of Toyota Supra, everyone knows it's basically a reskinned BMW Z4. It's a BMW interior. It's BMW I just wish Toyota, you know, stuck to their roots and, you know, kept the car more original. But it's still a super cool car. I mean, if you want to get into, you know, Supras and stuff like that, in my opinion, just save. It's about $10K more to get the 3.0. But I mean, if you want a car that looks good, it handles pretty well, but doesn't really have the oomph to, like, you know, get you in trouble, definitely go with the 2.0. It's a cool car. I think it's tough. The 2.0 Supra, I'm thinking B or C tier. It is a coupe. It is a rear-wheel drive coupe. You know, it's a tough decision. I'm gonna put that A tier just because I know power is lacking. You still get a rear-wheel drive system. It is pretty light, not a lot of power, but, you know, if you want a car that looks cool, most people won't know the wiser. They will just think you have a Toyota Supra. But I think that's going to cover it. So let me know what you guys think of this list. How did I do? Did I rank the cars pretty good? Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Do you want the Prius sitting in S tier? Let me know. If you guys like this type of content, make sure to subscribe. That shows me that you guys like these videos and want to see more. But I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.